Curie here to tell you all about KDL Summer Wonder Program. It's a fun way to stay reading and learning all summer long. Our 30-day challenge is free and open to all ages. Summer Wonder kicks off on June 1 and runs through August 7. Summer goes fast. Don't miss out on all the fun. And remember, stay curious.
Hello and welcome to Kent District Library's streaming programs. I'm Dave Fletcher from the Plainfield branch. Thanks for tuning in to today's program. We want to encourage you to take part in Summer Wonder 2021. It goes until August 7th and is a great way to keep up on your reading and learning this summer while earning cool prizes. For more information, you can go to kdl.org/summer. There are more programs being streamed this summer, including Wimmy's Words, Rough Readers, Story Times, and much, much more. KDL is also archiving many of those programs, so you can find more programs for all ages on the KDL Facebook page and the KDL YouTube page. Our presenter today is Rob Reider. Rob has been performing his show for audiences all across America. He studied with the world-famous Marcel Marceau. And please put your questions for Rob in the comments below, and at the end of the show, he'll have time to answer some of those. So please enjoy the show and give a big round of applause to Rob Reider.
Isn't it rich? Are we up there? Near at last on the ground, you admit it. Where are the clouds? Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps tearing around, one who can't move. Where are the clouds? There ought to be clouds just when I start opening doors. Finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours. Making my entrance again with my usual flair. Sure of my love, no one is there. Don't you love fun? My fault, I feel. I thought that you wanted, I want. Sorry, my dear. But where are the clouds? Sand in the clouds. Don't bother, they're here. Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my time this late in my career. But where are the clouds? There ought to be clouds. Well, maybe next year.
That was fantastic. Thank you so much. We've got a couple of questions that have come in.
Great.
First question is, how long have you been doing this?
That's a great question. I started in 1978. So that's 43 years ago. Is that right? 43. Yep. So I started, I was in California, and I had already known how to juggle, do magic, balloon animals, and I was practicing body movement, heart movement from China, and had quite a bit of control with my body. And a mime who was working there saw me just working out one day and said, wow, all those things you do, because I was just practicing for no apparent reason. And she asked, can you do this? And I went, well, yeah. She goes, wow, I think you could be a mime. And I'm like, really? So it's really how I started. I had some skill sets. She put the makeup on, and then she encouraged me to go study with Marcel Marceau, and her name was Osha Hayden at the time. And she's just a dear friend, and I really appreciate that encouragement. Created quite a career which I've still been performing. As long as you find it entertaining, I'll keep it up. So yeah, that's how it started, and that's how long it's been. And it's taken me into the movies. I now coach people who take stage, because I was classically trained just like Marcel Marceau was in the art of, from Etienne de Creux, called corporeal mime. So it's not pantomime, but it's more, how does this body operate? And it rotates and it inclines. And when you become a master of that, you can create significant expression. So there's many performers out there, bands and otherwise, who want to learn how to command attention on stage. So I rarely train a mime, but it's happened, but mostly it's other performers, and I call it the art of presence. And I now have a book out there, and it's in Amazon, and so the Essential Performer's Handbook. But thank you for asking. It's been a long, lovely, wonderful career. I appreciate it with all my heart.
We got another question asking
Sure.
just how do you do that so perfectly? And I guess part of the answer is you've been doing it for a while, but what's the training involved?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, it's another question. My initial working was probably more sloppy in the beginning because I wasn't taught by a master. So when I began to study the corporeal mime, I really began to lock in what is a plane, where should I be, what should this look like, and all that. And then I went and studied with Tony Montanaro, and he was a student that was equally as talented as Marcel Marceau, if not more, in such that he could create so much weight with illusions. And mime is the creation of the illusion of reality. It's obviously not real, it's pretend. But the more weight you can create, the more it looks like it's there. And so Tony taught me really how to create that much weight and make it show up. You know, my antics and facial expressions, somebody sent me a picture. I hadn't seen this. I never saw the picture until about 2 weeks ago when I was 15, and it was the same like that. So I think there's a little bit that was already in me, a little bit of a class clown, and I'm sure my teachers can appreciate that. But the rest of it was also timing, and the School of Hard Knocks, or doing a bunch of shows, gives you that ability to create comic timing and drama. And it's like those masks of sadness and happiness and everything in between. The body's there to support that. I observe things always. I can't help it now, but I observe things and I look for what is this expression, whether it comes from nature, you know, a rock, a tree, what does it look like, insect, animal, and certainly a lot of human beings, and we share the same kind of expressions. We only move so many ways, and we all have seen sadness and trouble and happiness and great days and hard days, but it's all shown on that face. And so my job is to express it in some of the vignettes I do. Yeah, so I appreciate the compliment. I think that I'm always a work in progress. It's always something that I always, at least mentally, thinking about. I don't practice the technique except when I teach, which is often. I get to brush up, so to speak. But I really appreciate that. Sometimes when I'm hired for a film or an industry film or a corporate film, I'll then write a new piece that's based on whatever product they're wishing to advertise. And back in the day, this is the 80s, local, very big company from Ada, Amway, I really appreciate they hired me to become Charlie Chaplin. And I did that character for one of their soap products, and it was just a fun commercial, and they put it in sepia tone, and I was able to create the illusion of Charlie Chaplin. I'm not him, but the illusion of it, so much that the Chaplin Society came down on us. Somehow they saw it and said, no, you pay us royalties. Well, that ended that. Yeah, it's fun. So I created a Buster Keaton and different kind of silent characters. But I can do dramatic and or otherwise because it's all contained within the human experience. Yeah.
So why mime instead of clowning? And what's the difference between the two?
Right. Yeah. I want to consider the classic clown that I see in the circuses in America. They have some tricks, but a lot of times they act like themselves, and I don't see a transformation in them becoming a character. In the Eastern European kind of clowning, it's much more dramatic, and there's actually a rhyme or reason or problem they're trying to figure out. So that kind of clowning interests me when it's more of a serious and dramatic clowning. Our tradition is like the rodeo clown. They're just people that wear face, and I don't diminish it in whatsoever. The mime is trained in a very specific kind of art form because they're creating illusions that clown is not. The clowns often create what we create, which is a problem that has to be solved. And so there's some similarities. The history of the whole silence, though, is really interesting because the makeup was to express that long distance in the Greek theater, outdoor theater. So they used flour and charcoal so that the facial expressions would show up. And then things moved through the Commedia dell'arte in Italy, and then eventually to France, where the king was having none of it. So he silenced the performers because they were making fun or something of the king. And so they became silent performers and very expressive and very good. They didn't say a word, but boy, everybody could understand them. And then it went through England kind of clowning, and then over to America, where some of us, there's only a handful that studied classical, the corporeal mime of Etienne de Creux. Tom Lovehart was my teacher here, and it was very challenging at the time that I studied serious corporeal mime. I was a street performer, which he despised at the time. It was confusing for me because he was a purist in the art form, and I was just starting out. I didn't realize then how grateful I am to Tom for giving me all that he gave me. He was a generous teacher and never held back, because all that's coming alive now, and I'm able to pass that on to other performers. The clowning is just a different kind of thing. A lot of clowns will use juggling and magic, and I appreciate it when it's artful. Otherwise, it sometimes is just a person there. And people can get scared of that because you got a person with a face and they start talking to the kids and they get scared of that. So I just think like anything, sensitivity is needed, and self-expression in a way that is meaningful. It means more to me to do something like that. And it's not to say that the mimes aren't annoying, or you can find certainly an annoying mime on the corner and such. I've tried to do mine in a way that's more entertaining and less annoying. Well, you be the judge.
I think you're falling on the right side of
I
that.
haven't been asked that. Yeah, Dave, I've never been asked that question, and I think it's a worthy discussion because it comes up a lot. And I do find I've always done school shows and corporate and theater, and I've always asked that the parents be attentive or the teacher be attentive to the child that may have an upset with the makeup. The reason I do my show the way I do it is to come out as me, then put the makeup on so at least they can see that I'm a person that is playing a mime, and then take it back off and see me as I am, and I'm able to talk without it. You know, sometimes it helps. I don't know.
Two more quick questions.
Yes.
One is the ever important, how can people get in touch with you? Social media, website?
Yeah, that's a great question. I really appreciate you asking that. I am under mimerobreider.com, but if you Google Mime Rob, it will come up in Michigan right up at the top. And so I am found on that. I'm also found in Facebook. My two places that most people come to me are either mimerobreider.com or Coach Presence. And that is, of course, I coach here, Hollywood. The next places I'm going are Chicago, because there's a lot of entertainers there, and Nashville, now that we're hopefully over the pandemic and able to share with so many performers that are there. Yeah, so coachpresence.com or mimerobreider.com, and I really appreciate you asking that.
And the last question is my question. How many times have you burned yourself while practicing your juggling?
Oh, that's so good. Well, it's so funny because just before you started the broadcast, I was all set, and then I realized, boy, I still have my contacts in. So I ran and took them out, because the only time I really ever got burned, well, there are two incidences. One, I was performing and somebody threw something. They were probably not in the right mind, I can just say that. And they threw paper product and it did light up, and I just got singed. I didn't get burned. But the incident where I did get more singed was I was outdoor performing, and it was between two houses, and out of nowhere, it was like a backdraft, and it went whoosh into my face. And I believe I had a mustache at the time, and I certainly had contacts. I didn't get hurt at all, and I've never really been hurt doing my show. But I had singe, and I had melted contacts, and I'm like, how it didn't hurt my eyes, I'll not know. But those are the only two times. I am very careful. I want to just say this to everybody out there, and don't play with fire, don't play with matches, don't play with anything that's flammable. Fire is serious. And I have to tell you, every show I have to negotiate with myself, I'm going to be juggling fire today. It's not like, oh, like the bean bags, which, by the way, I'm willing to show anything I do other than fire juggling. But I can show juggling if there's time, and if not, another time. But I've never been burned, but I am ultra careful. I mean, every step, I won't say what I use, but the liquid that's used is put away tightly. The amount that's used on the ends is controlled. I've done it, I don't want to say a million times, but let's just say hundreds of thousands of times. And I'm very respectful. I have dropped, but because of the nature of what I use, it doesn't light anything else up. It's a very hot but quick, and as soon as I pick it up, there's no trace of it. So, there's just tricks in the trade, but I will encourage people that if they want to learn to juggle, these are the best. Scarves are the best. And I'll just do it real quickly. It's slow, and that's why I use scarves. And I start with 1 and then 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. And it just slows down the process and gives you ability to juggle. So scarves, safe. Fire juggling, just leave it for the pros, okay? And some people like to know how I do. I'll just show you real quickly. How do you do these balloon animals? The hardest part about it is blowing it up. And the second hardest part is tying them out when you have makeup remover on your fingers. But so you blow it up, and I literally have to let a little air out. And let's just see if I can do this. And then tie a knot. And then it's a matter of 3 twists for the one I'm going to make, which is the dog. So it's 1 twist, 2 twists, and 3 twists. I fold up, and then I twist these 2 together. So that starts it. Another one, 1, 2, fold up, twist together, pinch together, twist. That gets the beginning of the dog. You can see it so backwards here. And then 1, 2, 3, one more time. And that gives the basic animal, but I like to transform it into more of a poodle. So I actually, through the magic dog yoga or something, I put the nose back through the ears, and it begins to shape it more like a French poodle, and then blow a little more air in the tail. And then you have a kind of a poodle-esque kind of thing. So, I learned several of those. I'm not a balloon artist, as there are some people. I'm not the best juggler either. There's many that I respect that can juggle many more objects. I consider what I do more entertaining, and it's a variety, and I think there's enough in the show that try to satisfy different people at different times of their life. So, yeah.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Rob, for the show today. Rob Reider, everyone. And Rob will be back, actually, for more programs this summer, Tuesday, June 22nd at 10 a.m. and Wednesday, July 14th at 1 p.m. So you get a couple of daytime shows there. And thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for your questions. And, of course, there's plenty more to check out all summer long at kdl.org/summer. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you very much. Goodbye, everybody, and thank you for attending.